Victor Munoz. I always get your name name incorrectly.
No, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, Quantic from Metis. And as you know, Metis is a permissionless layer 2 network powering the next generation of decentralized applications. Superfluid, self-sustainable blockchain with deployed decentralized sequencer technology. Today, we invite Quantic from Metis Foundation to discuss more in depth about what Metis is and the opportunity that it offers for the builders. So, welcome, Victor. Welcome to the show. Please say hi to all the Korean builders who might be listening.
Yes, hi. I'm very excited to be here and to share some of my experience with the builders and to keep this collaboration with the people in the Asian region. For me, it's truly an inspiring opportunity. So thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, right, right. And I'm sure all the Korean builders are excited to know more about Metis and like what Metis Foundation is, and more in depth because like that those opportunities were present during Eat Seoul and other opportunities, but at the same time, to get more deeper and thorough understanding would be helpful for builders to be able to participate and be able to expand their knowledge into different ecosystems. So, can you briefly introduce yourself? How did you get into crypto, and like how you got interested in how you got into Metis Foundation, and how you started the journey?
Yeah, for sure. So I got into crypto in 2020. I was actually doing my PhD in physics and working with some data analytic tools and machine learning stuff. And I was invited to collaborate on another project not related to physics, which was predicting the price of Bitcoin using neural networks. And I found it quite an interesting challenge. So I took it and started digging about it. And obviously, when I started learning about Bitcoin, I got interested into blockchain technology. And ever since then, I've been progressing into a sort of rabbit hole on the world of Web3 and blockchain. And then once I finished my PhD, I decided I was going to be moving on the Web3 path, so to speak. So I started creating content, and then I started collaborating with one company that is inside of the Metis ecosystem. And then once I was inside of the Metis ecosystem, at some point I joined Metis as a developer relations, and ever since then I've been trying my best to try to improve the adoption of our technology based on providing value to end users and developers, mostly developers and builders. So that's pretty much my story in Web3.
Yeah, that's very exciting because, like, I mean, it's amazing to hear that you are from a physics background and then you had your doctor's or like PhD thesis on predicting Bitcoin price. That's a interesting usage of neural network as you said, and then transitioning that into DevRel, which is somewhat related in terms of like technical or like physics as I mean so to speak is if it's not directly computer science, at least it has engineering side of things and have a probably strong understanding into if not cryptography at least like how the technical engineering aspects work. And yeah, that the very fact that you got more interested in helping the developer as a dev role, that seemed to be a very interesting journey in and of its own.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope so. Like from the technical point of view, yeah, physicist is not like a software engineer or a cryptographer or anything like that. But having this experience solving problems really has helped me a lot in growing my career in Web3 for sure.
Solving problems. That seemed to be a very, very interesting and important aspect, just beyond just the pure technical blockchain of stuff. Which begs me to the question of what is Metis and what problem it solves and what are its core features?
Yeah, for sure. So Metis is a layer two scaling solution using optimistic rollups at the moment to scale. So essentially, you can think of Metis as an extension of Ethereum, but in this extension, of course, we are scalable, we are flexible, and we have, I would say, a very unique incentive program for builders, end users, entrepreneurs, investors to come and participate in our network. So one of the things I would say makes Metis unique is the fact that in its architecture, we have something called a decentralized sequencer. So very briefly, a sequencer is a key component in any layer 2 solution that aims to scale Ethereum that essentially handles transaction processes and batch them, right? So it orders the transaction, and that's a key role because in ordering those transactions, there is value that can be extracted or not. But at the same time, most L2s, if not all of them, have a centralized sequencer, meaning that they have a single point of failure. So if anything happens to that sequencer, then the entire network can get stalled and can get compromised. So the Metis layer 2 has a network for this with multiple sequencers, and that's something that not only allows something that is new from a technological point of view, but more importantly, it allows for the creation of new incentives and new ways to see L2 networks.
Yeah, I was actually recently looking into some of the decentralized sequencer part of Metis, and if I'm getting it correctly, there was recently a vote or like a process of electing the new sequencer into the ecosystem. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's pretty much correct. So essentially what Metis is doing now is the following thing. We are the only layer 2 solution that is sharing the revenue with the rest of the participants in the network. So how are we going to share that revenue is through having multiple sequencer nodes that are taking care of processing and batching these transactions to the L1, right? But then it comes the question, who can become a sequencer? And we at Metis think that the best way to decide that is through having a community vote. So right now, I think there are multiple votings that are open for people to participate and choose which company, which project they trust the most to become one of the next sequencer nodes that will be becoming part of the decentralized sequencer network on Metis L2. So that's another thing that's pretty unique in Metis is our decentralized approach also for key decisions, because this is not a light thing. Like sequencers have a big responsibility and power over the network. So it's something that we really must be careful, and we really need to do some research. We really need to connect with the community and get to connect with the sequencer operators.
Yeah, in a way, you're sounding as if like sequencers are these kind of like a congressman, like in a parliament or like some of the political seats where these sequencers are figuratively speaking, or maybe literally speaking, deciding which like amendments or transactions are to be processed in a way. Well, they don't have the full autonomy of like blocking anything, but at the same time, they do have some of the key features of gardening the network and be able to maintain the ecosystem into a rightful place. That's what makes the ecosystem either grow and thrive or shrink if they don't do the right job. And as you said, Metis as a network is sharing the revenue or the incentives together with the sequencer for that rightful reasons to be able for them to be the guardians or like the keepers of the network, right?
Exactly. Yes. So they have, like I mentioned, a big responsibility when it comes to not only including the transactions of the users, but also from the security aspect as well. And that makes it in such a way that we need to generate incentives to attract only the best to come and kind of own our network, and at the same time getting the community involved to the side so that they can see, okay, maybe this would be good investors, but there might be not very well aligned with what the community wants or needs. So in order to address that problem, I think that the voting is one of the best possible solutions that you can take in that direction.
Yeah, the network participants find the right electoral like the candidates that they would like to be running the network. That seemed to be only a fair process by which the legitimate I guess sequencers can come by and be a part of the ecosystem. I guess that brings me to a bigger question or a further question in terms of like so there might as you mentioned sequencer nodes or like the sequencer runners operators are probably one of the few ecosystem partners who are running the network, but I'm sure there are builders and like other individual investors or like if not investors token holders and other community members who are interested in Metis network who would be part of the greater Metis ecosystem. So as a part of like other build like more since Ludium is much more focused on builders, I guess for builders, why do you think builders should join Metis as opposed to any other L2s or any other ecosystem? What are why should builder care about these, and what are the opportunities that are offered to the builders so that they should care more about Metis?
Yeah, for sure. That's an excellent question, and one that I think any L2 should be able to reply to, in the sense that, okay, there are a bunch of L2s. What makes you unique? And like I mentioned before, one of the things that I think is very unique on Metis is this decentralized sequencer network and what it allows, right? Because essentially a builder, I mean, it could be one of these node operators, right? So if you become a node operator, you can become one of the sequencers in our network, but then it comes, okay, what is the incentive? We are offering 20% APR for these people that are running this sequencer. So it's a big price as well, but then something of that we want to incentivize that they give back to the community somehow, right? So all, if not the vast majority of these sequencer operators are pairing with liquid staking derivative providers. So these are, I don't want to go into details of the DeFi stuff, but it's essentially protocols that make sure that we use our token to secure the network at the same time that we extract economic value from it, right? Via staking, essentially, or restaking.
Right.
So this is a big incentive that is, okay, staking exists from a long time, but it's very unique in the way this has been built. So that's pretty much one big incentive for anyone that wants to come onto our network, build and interact and get part of this ecosystem in which you have the sequencer node and the LSTs, right? So you can put your app in between there somehow in terms of a strategic value that you can provide or extract from the network, right? So that's one. Second, and I would say probably even more easy to understand, is the fact that we have one of the biggest grant programs that you can think of in Web3. It's called the Metis EDF, which stands for Metis Ecosystem Development Fund. Roughly 4.6 million Metis tokens have been committed to this. Part of this goes to the sequencer mining rewards that I just mentioned, but another big portion is going to be granted to different decentralized applications, different initiatives that come to a network to improve our infrastructure, our incentive campaigns, and of course, multiple decentralized applications that are going to be deploying on Metis. So you can now come and do something on gaming, on NFTs, on DeFi, on tooling for developers, and apply for a grant for it. So I think that's pretty much a great possibility, because as Metis is a small ecosystem that is expanding right now, this is sort of a unique timing to come in and build something that is still not here on this network, and that maybe you can find it easily on other bigger blockchains or ecosystem, and bring that to Metis and be rewarded for that. So that's another pretty important way in which founders and builders in general can benefit from participating on the Metis ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, as an application builder, as you mentioned, you are eligible for the building application grant side of things, 1.6 million metas to be distributed over 10 years, I guess if I'm reading correctly. And also, if you're as you get more and more immersed into the ecosystem, you might be, you might be a significant like enough of a player within the ecosystem, so much so that you may be running the vote round for the sequencer mining and be able to, distribute it back, distribute the some of the incentives back to the community through LST or like restaking protocols or running the validator nodes and all the sequencer nodes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it seems to be like a step, if not stepwise, at least some kind of a process by which you can get more and more immersed into the greater ecosystem as a whole? Am I taking would that be like the projection that builders can look into while they're participating in the Metis ecosystem?
Sorry, can you repeat that? It was an issue on my
Oh,
internet connection.
okay, yeah. Sorry. So if I'm taking it correctly, so there are two kinds of grants, as you mentioned. So there's an ecosystem grant and sequencer mining grant. So as an application builder, you can be doing participating in ecosystem grant and run your application and become a valuable part of an ecosystem. And if you get enough traction, and then if you get prove yourself valid enough, you'll probably be able to shoot for sequencer node as a part of the application that's already doing a stellar job within the ecosystem, and then you have every legitimacy to be voted or like elected as a sequencer miner. And then as you go further and further into the ecosystem through LST or like restaking initiatives, you give back some of the things you earned to the community, so that you thrive the community, like grow with the community, along with the token incentives that are to be distributed to you. That's the like ideal goal for the Metis builder. Am I taking that correctly?
Yes, that's a great way to summarize that. But just to correct something and be a little bit more clear, that is the fact that we are very flexible in our grant program. So what does that mean? That means that you can apply at any stage of your project at any time with any amount that you would require. So some projects need more money for audits, for instance, and others just need smaller amounts of money just to create incentive campaigns. So there are different needs for these projects, and with the Metis EDF, we really want to see what is the best way we can support each individual case. So because of that, it's completely open as of right now. So this is something that everybody can kind of take advantage of at this stage. And we just require from the applicants that they provide a very clear and good proposal. And by the way, I think we discussed that before going live. I created a thread in which I provided a detailed breakdown of what are the things that the grant committees are usually looking for when assigning these grants and looking what are the best projects to allocate some funds. So I would 100% recommend to check it out. But essentially, it goes from everything: the project overview, the team, the business model, and the funding request. What is the breakdown, the milestones, all of that. So yeah, I guess that's something that I should add just to make it super clear for anyone that's listening right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the thread right now. I think it's really a valuable thread, including, like, as you said, comprehensively business model to revenue stream, like how they can be sustainable, and then eventually, like the tech stack, like what's the wow factor, what's your team, and all that kind of stuff. It's basically like, I mean, as you know, Ludium is Ludium runs hackathon. It's like, basically writing up, if not an IR pitch deck, at least like some kind of an elevator pitch, really presenting the strong case for yourself, because I mean, at the end of the day, you're asking money from the foundation to support you and be able to work with them, so that you have to prove yourself that we're providing some valuable insights, or generating some kind of value, whether it be in the forms of transaction or incentive like redistribution or marketing campaign or anything that meets the I guess success or the growth of Metis ecosystem. I guess being thorough on that seems to be very important for all builders to consider, not just for the grant, but it's for the investments, or it's for the sales pitch just in general. I think that's what I felt about
Exactly.
it. Yeah. So yeah, your
Yeah,
thread seems
because
to be, yeah.
essentially, if you have a project and you have all of the information there, even if you don't get the grant, you can be confident you're in a solid position to explain absolutely every detail that every stakeholder is going to ask from a different angle, from other grants, from investors, from community members. So I did it in a way that I hope it provides that kind of value to projects that have no idea really how they have to apply to these grants, because essentially what you do when you apply to a grant is you fill a form, right? A Google form or a crypto form or whatever, and you reply to some questions. But then you are wondering, did I did it correctly? Was that enough? Should I have done something different? So this content that I share is essentially to give you a general framework.
Yeah, I think it could help as a good standing point for for all those who are participating in the hackathon or Road to Global Stage program just in general. Which I think brings another question. I mean, as a sponsor, like Metis Foundation has sponsored Road to Global Stage initiative in Korea to bring builders to mostly to Bangkok, I guess, in November because keeping the builder and having the builder focused on the network, not just on the Metis network, but also incubating builders and having a quality builder is important for the ecosystem as a whole. So, but that brings me to the question, what does Metis Foundation expect from this program by supporting the Road to Global Stage program in Korea?
Yeah, that's a great question. So really what we want to do, this is kind of our first biggest step in moving into connecting like in a more deeper way and meaningful way with the Asian community in general. So really what we expect is to establish a strong foundation with strategic key partners and obviously also the community of developers, of builders, of people who are passionate about the Web3 and blockchain industry in general, such that as we keep expanding, we are able to talk with the right stakeholders that are also well aligned with us, with our vision and with our mission, right? So for us, it's very important, transparency. It is very important, decentralization, community participation. Those are values that I would say even other companies or projects are going to be claiming they have. In practice, it doesn't look like way. While in the case of Metis, we really are striving to manifest that in concrete ways, right? So that's something that we are really looking for, people that kind of understand our vision, our values, and why are we doing what we are doing, right? So that's pretty much, it's kind of general reply that I provided, but I hope it gives you some insight into what is it that we are going to be looking for.
Yeah, I mean, as you like, we were talking previously about like good proposal versus bad proposal. At the end of the day, we would like to see good proposal come out of this, but before that, at least, like we do know that like in the beginning, like you can't really write a good proposal because I mean, with all the swearing like involved, you don't know what the hell you're doing. To be honest, like when you're starting, it is bound to be confusing, like not just because it's Web3 but just in general it's bound to be confusing and you're learning coding for the first time. You can't really know what to build and like how to present yourself, because what your strengths are, and like you just got to try things out. And then in a way those initiative, at least like those ardor that you push through and community driven I guess enthusiasm that brings builders together, I think that's what propelled blockchain or the crypto industry in general. And as you are explaining, in a way, Metis, like in as much as Metis would like to see like the more saturated or more mature builders to be onboarding, you are also supporting the beginning of the initiatives and the community-driven efforts, and who will eventually, if they push it long enough, will probably be able to see as the as you said, the key stakeholders or like the key player at some point. And having that seeing that propelled would be valuable to Metis' value, in the sense that community-driven and incentive-driven network that is actually decentralized to from its very core.
Once again, there seems to be an issue with the mic connection, but just on the last part, I don't know what's happening, but it's only on the last part when
No, no.
you
Yeah, last part's always
shared
the
the question.
last part's always the least interesting, so you might as well miss it. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I mean, as like I hope that so to summarize, I hope that as a community-driven builder initiative, Road to Global Stage serve as on the one hand um, a a rightful approach that Metis could take a step towards Asian market for the first time, but at the same time, to serve the core value of Metis network, which is incentive driven, community driven, and decentralization at its core. Because as you said, I mean, we all say it. We all say the decentralization. We all throw that word like so many times, but at the same time, it's a hard thing to come by, and so many people just give it up in between every now and then. But as you said, the Metis network, from its like inception and from its very core, is very steadfast to the value.
Exactly. Yeah. You summarized it perfectly. So I really don't have anything to add there.
Yeah, so I really hope that the builders out there who are listening in Korea, and since although it is starting in Korea, the reason why we're bringing folks to Bangkok, we're trying to as we move along, we're trying to integrate more greater like Southeast Asia and like more of an Asian oriented builder communities to be participating in this initiative as we move farther, because that's why we're working with Ethereum Foundation for Road to DevCon in general, and talking with like ETH Global Bangkok and like other like small communities in Thailand or any other builder communities out there to try to bring the forces together and have community-driven builder initiative going on. And I hope that it serves rightfully for Metis growth and Metis Road as an ecosystem partner in the future.
Yeah, for sure. We're really looking forward to having this event, to join in there and to collaborating with you guys and with other strategic partners that we have selected. And our goal is pretty much, like I mentioned, establish this connection and also teach other, from my end as a DevRel, teach other developers how to embrace our technology in a way that is that they can leverage that for their future and for their own growth, rather than just come here, I give you money, just build a decentralized application and we're all good. No, I want to go further, and I want to provide people with tools so that they can continue developing their careers in Web3 as builders in general.
Yeah, sounds like an exciting beginning of a great friendship of a sort. So yeah, I guess I'm sure all the builders who are listening today, or who will be listening to the recorded version with the translation on it, will probably see what Metis is about. And before we part, would you like to share your final thoughts or like final say that you would like to share with the builders out there?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I would like to stress is how easy it is to, from you, if you're in any place of the world, to reach out to key members of the Metis team and get support from them. I think that that's not something that you will find in any other ecosystem. Here, we really value personal connections, building personal relationships, and trying to support you and provide you solutions, right? So maybe you will have a problem with your code, or maybe you need a specific tool for your decentralized application to work better. And you can reach out to us, and we will try our best to serve you and to help you grow alongside with us. So that's pretty much it, what I would like to mention. Please make sure to follow Metis on social media, of course, here on YouTube, Metis L2, Metis L2 as well on X, on Twitter. And if you have any questions, I'm also available on social media. You can find me by typing Quantic, Web3 or something like that, and you will for sure arrive to my profile easily. And I really appreciate having this opportunity to have this conversation with you. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have more conversations to come, more workshops and a longer journey ahead. So thank you so much for joining today, Quantic, Victor, and I hope we can talk more as we move along.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it. And we will see, I think that we will see each other pretty soon. So thank you very much and have a nice